A powerful ego can make you feel unstoppable, right up until it quietly ruins everything you've built. Today, we're breaking down how ego blinds us, sabotages success, and how Robert Greene, despite fame and praise, keeps his ego from taking over. Before we dive in, ask yourself, if you suddenly became praised, admired, recognized, would you grow or collapse under your own pride? Drop your honest answer. Success feels good. Until it owns you. Success is intoxicating because it convinces you that you're the reason everything works, even when luck, timing, and help from others played quiet roles. And the moment you believe success came solely from your brilliance, ego steps in and whispers that you can stop learning, stop improving, stop questioning yourself. That's how empires collapse internally long before the world notices. A strong person recognizes achievement, but an evolving person remembers the work required to earn it again tomorrow. Protect growth, not glory. Celebrate wins briefly, then ask, what skill must I sharpen next? Praise is a drug. Imagine applause as a hit of dopamine, exciting, validating, addictive, but short-lived like smoke in cold air. Praise feels like progress, but often replaces progress, and the more you rely on it, the more fragile you become because someone else controls your high. One day you're admired, the next you're forgotten, and if your worth is built on praise, so is your collapse. Two realities coexist: praise can lift you, or weaken you. Dual truth. The antidote? Seek fulfillment in effort, not applause. Reward yourself for discipline, not attention. Habit is more valuable than hype. Why external validation is never enough. Greene-rooted principle. The ego feeds on validation, but as Robert Greene explains, anything built on public approval eventually collapses under its own weight. Attention changes, audiences move on, novelty fades, and if your confidence comes from the outside, your identity goes with it. You become emotionally starved, constantly refreshing, checking, comparing, begging for one more hit of recognition. That is slavery disguised as success. Validation is vapor. Greene's remedy: detach your sense of worth from applause and tie it to the work itself. You win internally first, and only then externally. Measure progress by growth, not praise. The Robert Greene example, famous yet unsatisfied. Robert Greene has written bestsellers read around the world, yet he openly admits he still doubts his work, still rewrites, still feels his drafts are inadequate. Most would celebrate and relax. Greene sharpens his craft instead. This is anti-ego mastery. His success didn't inflate him, it disciplined him. Ego wants comfort, mastery demands discomfort. Doubt is fuel. When Greene says he never allows himself to feel fully done, he's choosing progression over pride. Treat every achievement as chapter 1, not the final page. Growth stays alive when ego stays questioned. Childhood roots of ego. Greene speaks honestly about never feeling fully praised or validated growing up, and how that insecurity became a strange advantage later in life. Instead of letting it break him, he turned it into momentum, an inner pressure to improve rather than coast. Most people try to kill discomfort. Greene converted it into drive. Your early wounds can either inflate your ego or refine your discipline. Pain can sculpt greatness. The key is awareness. Don't let old insecurities push you into chasing approval. Let them push you toward mastery instead. Turn emotional scars into work ethic, not ego. The dark side of recognition. When praise becomes abundant, ego expands quietly like slow-growing mold, unnoticed until it consumes the structure. Greene warns that many creators plateau after early success because approval convinces them they've arrived. They polish their image instead of their skill. They repeat instead of innovate. They grow comfortable instead of dangerous. And comfort, Greene reminds us, is how talent decays. Success can seduce growth to sleep. Protect yourself by staying a student, especially when you're winning. After every success, ask, where am I still ignorant? And study that domain. Insecurity masquerading as confidence. The loudest ego is often hiding the deepest doubt. Greene shows that insecurity doesn't disappear with success, it mutates. It says, you're great already, instead of, keep improving. Ego is fear in a costume. It avoids challenge because challenge exposes weakness, while humility embraces challenge because growth lives inside difficulty. Real strength is quiet. Greene's lesson: doubt can sharpen you or soften you, depending on how you use it. When insecurity appears, don't escape it, investigate it. Turn it into study, repetition, and skill refinement. Ego makes you plateau, not progress. Ego convinces you you've finished learning, but mastery, Greene's lifelong theme, requires beginning again and again. The ego-driven creator repeats old formulas. The growth-driven one burns them down to build better ones. Ego protects pride, humility protects evolution. Those who rise cease rising when they believe they've reached the top. Improvement dies when certainty lives. Greene's work reminds us, the master remains the eternal student. After every milestone, return to the beginner's posture. Seek difficulty. Seek challenge. Seek edges. The curse of first success. History shows us that the first victory is often the most dangerous, because it tricks the mind into believing future victories will come as easily. Greene notes how many writers succeed once, then remake the same work endlessly, never evolving beyond the thing that made them known. They stop experimenting, stop risking, stop questioning their own brilliance. First success becomes a cage. One win can become your prison. The Greene approach? Treat early success as nothing more than proof you can begin. After a win, try something harder, not something safer. When ego stops learning. Picture a creator who was innovative at the beginning, but once praised, became predictable. Their work loses soul because ego convinces them they've already mastered the craft. Greene's philosophy rejects that illusion completely. He rewrites, revises, destroys drafts just to rebuild them stronger. Ego says, "You're finished." Mastery says, "You've barely started." That's the dividing line. The master outlives the moment. Greene's insight: the moment you think you know enough, you fall behind. Study more when people praise you most, because praise breeds stagnation. Before we continue deeper, ask yourself, do you want your confidence to come from applause or from skill? If you're committed to mastering the self the way Greene teaches it, subscribe and write "Inner Driven" in the comments to prove you're not ruled by ego. Robert Greene's brutal first draft philosophy. Greene openly admits his first drafts are awful, sometimes unreadable even to him. Most people would hide that. He embraces it. Why? Because he knows greatness is not born polished, it becomes polished through friction, failure, revision. Ego can't survive that honesty, only discipline can. He writes draft after draft until meaning sharpens, sentences tighten, ideas deepen. Ugly beginnings become powerful endings. Lesson: perfection isn't required to start, only persistence to finish. Allow your first attempt to be terrible, then improve it deliberately. Why being hard on yourself is a gift. Greene's humility isn't weakness, it's structure. By being harsh with his own work, he prevents complacency from entering his creative process. Most people believe self-critique lowers confidence. Greene uses it to raise quality. When you expect more from yourself, ego has less room to speak. Discomfort becomes discipline. Pressure produces diamonds. Use criticism like weight training, painful, but strengthening. Review your work as if it were a stranger's. Remove what's lazy. Refine what's unclear. Strength grows in scrutiny. Social media, ego's playground. Greene warns that social media encourages ego more than excellence. Followers, likes, impressions, metrics that look like success but rarely reflect skill or depth. A creator gains numbers and loses substance. A thinker becomes a performer. And once identity depends on audience approval, silence becomes terrifying. Attention is not achievement. Greene teaches us to build work that lasts beyond trends, beyond algorithms, beyond applause. Post less to be seen, and create more to be remembered. Followers aren't fulfillment. Ego craves followers, but Greene reminds us that admiration is not legacy. 1,000,000 people noticing you today means nothing if your work is forgotten tomorrow. Attention is seasonal. Depth is eternal. When you chase numbers, you become whatever the crowd wants. When you chase mastery, you become who you're meant to be. Virality fades. Value endures. True fulfillment comes from work so strong it outlasts trends. Build projects that will matter in 10 years, not posts that trend for 10 hours. Legacy applause. The ego wants applause now, but Greene plays the long game, books that are reread decades later, not content consumed and discarded in minutes. Legacy is the reward of patience, consistency, and private battles no audience sees. Applause is immediate gratification. Legacy is slow fire. Chase timeless, not timely. Ask yourself daily, will this still matter when I'm gone? Prioritize work that outlives you, even if few notice it now. Long-term thinkers dominate long after short-term stars fade. Inner-driven versus ego-driven work. Greene draws a clean line between two types of ambition. Ego-driven work seeks approval, inner-driven work seeks improvement. One is loud. The other is deep. Ego-driven creators crumble when ignored. Inner-driven creators thrive even in silence because growth itself is the reward. External praise is unstable. Internal mastery is unshakable. Two paths. One decision. Choose the one that can't be taken from you. Evaluate your goals. Remove anything motivated purely by recognition. The future belongs to the humble builder. Greene's career proves that those who keep learning eventually surpass those who stop. The world worships novelty but rewards mastery. While others chase eyes and approval, the quiet worker sharpens their blade day after day, unseen, until one day the difference is unmistakable. Slow growth becomes unstoppable. Humility keeps sharpening where ego stops. Study people better than you, not people praising you. Competition sharpens. Compliments soften. How to practice ego resistance daily. Greene doesn't fight ego once, he fights it repeatedly. Daily. You must too. Set aside moments each day to observe your reactions. Do you want to improve? Or be admired? Ego whispers shortcut. Mastery chooses difficulty. The battlefield is internal. Practical implementation. Welcome criticism instead of defending yourself. Work in private where no applause exists. Pursue progress over perfection. Do one thing daily that challenges your identity. The one who defeats ego becomes unstoppable. The world will reward ego in the short term, but it will always reward mastery in the long term. Greene's life teaches a hard truth: praise rises fast, but it evaporates even faster. What remains is the work you built slowly, painfully, quietly. And when applause fades, as it always does, the only thing holding you up is the strength you forged when nobody was watching. The real victory is internal. The real battle is you versus yourself. If you're ready to master ego, you'll love what's coming next: how to build discipline when motivation dies.